I'm starting to get to the point where the more I get to know people, the less I want to be around them. And, you know, it's not a single incident or like some sort of series of a specific type of incident with interacting with people that has gotten me to this point. It's just a bunch of experiences over time, overall. Most experiences has made me feel like, again, the more I get to know people, the less I want to be around them. And it's because the more you get to know how people behave and why they behave the way that they do and the mentality behind it, you know, you start digging deeper into that like rabbit hole. I don't regret understanding those things or, you know, I guess peeking into that box or whatever of like people's mindsets and things like that. I think it's very important to understand how people are and why they are the way that they are so that you don't get caught up in messes that you wouldn't know how to handle if you didn't understand those things. But it doesn't change the fact that once you really start to break down like people's psyche and why they act a certain way, it's something that I can't talk about in a video or like, you know, just type it down and post it somewhere. It's something that would take months upon months of like breaking down different things, maybe even longer. And it's something that people don't really talk about a lot. Or at all. I grew up, you know, my whole life trying to find people who would talk about those things. Whenever I would, people wouldn't want to talk about them. I don't know, like I look at a bunch of videos on YouTube, you know, I research stuff. There's just certain things people don't talk about. And when you really think about it, you know, you look at psychiatrists and psychologists and things like that. They tend to think that they know everything because they went to college for it or whatever the fuck. And it's like you're a human being who went to college and you read a book. Doesn't mean that you're some sort of psychological guru. You just read a fucking book, passed your tests, and got the job. And people forget that before psych classes were a thing, someone had to discover the stuff that you're reading and teaching and learning about. So you don't have to be a psych major to understand these things. And I'm not a psych major. I know a lot of people who major in psychology, and a lot of them are sociopaths. I know a lot of psychologists who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I've met ones who do, you know, so anyway, I'm jumping around a bit, but I don't really know what direction to put this video in. I just know that I want to explain that I'm getting ready to start making videos about a particular topic, which is more so just about humanity in general and why people behave a certain way and like different issues that I have with people in general. And I know that a lot of people aren't gonna like it because, you know, again, I've spent my whole life like talking about these things because when I was younger it just used to seem like common sense to me, but when you start telling people about themselves they don't really like that. And as you can see with some of the controversial videos that I've done, people get really angry. So it's like I understand that that's something that's going to happen, and I understand that people are going to think that I'm like, I think I'm a know-it-all, or I think that I'm some sort of self-absorbed like narcissistic person, or I'm full of myself or whatever. Or even on the other side that I'm over-emotional. People are going to think that I am blowing things out of proportion, or I'm like some sort of pessimist. Some people might even think that I'm a sociopath. These are things that I've heard a lot. When you say specific things to people, they automatically associate it with something that it has nothing to do with. A lot of times people are projecting. You know, it's something that people do constantly. But I know for sure when I start talking about certain things, people are definitely going to think that I'm either self-absorbed, they're going to think that I'm some sort of sociopath, or they're going to think that I'm over-emotional. And I can easily argue in those situations why I'm not. Whenever they come up, I'm not going to be trying to argue with people ahead of time before I even say anything. And people are definitely going to think I'm stupid. That's another one. But I want to talk about definitely sociopaths and narcissists a lot because they're extremely common. And on the flip side, I also want to talk about optimistic people because they are also extremely fucking common. And both of them get on my last goddamn nerves. And they're like everywhere. Like you see them every fucking day. They're like your friends, and some of them are you and your fucking neighbors and your coworkers. And they're like, they take up the majority of the population. And there's so many things wrong with both of their fucking mindsets. And sometimes they like intertwine so they can be like sociopath and an optimist. I just can't. That's the type of shit that just makes me like not even want to give a fuck anymore. So yeah, I know that that's the type of stuff that's going to come my way when I start talking about these things. But it's really important to me right now to start talking about these things because, again, no one talks about it. No one does. This isn't one of those, no one's talking about it and everyone's doing videos on it. This is something that no one talks about. You know, edgelords are something that no one talks about. I don't even know... I can't remember the last time I heard someone use the word edgelord except for me and my friends. Like, no one talks about it or why people are edgelords. No one talks about why people are sociopaths, why people do this, why people do... They don't talk about it. And even when you research the stuff that kind of touches on it, it doesn't touch on it, you know, it doesn't dig deep enough in those subjects. And I don't know, I think it's just so important to have those conversations. So anyway, I know that there's a lot of people who grew up with the type of issues that I grew up with, and that's really the main reason why I'm going to talk about these topics, because when you are surrounded by very abusive and selfish people and very malicious people, which is actually very common, the things that it does to you, the scars that it leaves, it's stuff that you can't run away from, you know. And if you don't know how to handle it, there's a lot of people who kill themselves over things like that. So yeah, again, I'm jumping around a lot, but I've been kind of touching on this for a while, that I want to do like more videos about psychology. And when I finish this fucking My Candy Love bullshit, I'm going to do that. I have one video left to do, but right now I'm like doing some digging or whatever, getting some more information about how they treat certain workers that they have, I guess is all I can say for now. And they're just a really fucked up company. Like, the way that they treat people is honestly really fucking disgusting. And that's why I'm like, just stop. At least stop supporting My Candy Love. Like, they're really greedy and just heartless. But after that, I'm done making My Candy Love videos. I'm finished with it. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm over it because every video is the fucking same, and people are still sitting there like, oh my god, I love this. I love this website. I love it. Oh my god, I love it. So anyway, yeah, like, I don't know. I've just been thinking about stuff a lot lately, and like things in my personal life and just things in my environment around me, things that I've been seeing. It just sometimes I don't know, like sometimes I feel like screaming. So I'm just at a point where I'm tired of not seeing anyone say anything about these things, and I at the same time I understand that it's not really going to change much. As I've said in every controversial video that I've ever made, my goal is never to change the minds of these retarded people. I don't care if I change the mind of somebody who's like fucked up or whatever. I don't care. I've given up on that sort of aspect in life. It's not a goal of mine. The only people I ever feel like addressing when I'm making videos, or the people who I'm trying to like speak to directly, are people who are in the same predicament as me, people who are affected by it the same way that I am. I focus on them. I really don't give a fuck about changing people's minds. I don't really give a fuck about people becoming more productive or things like that, because we've barely gotten any farther than when we started, when we first, you know. So I just don't give a fuck about changing people's opinions. I feel like a lot of people are a lost cause. And it's not even just something that I feel like most people don't change. You know, if I go back to myself when I was a little kid, like even I don't change. If I go back to myself when I was in elementary school, I'd be a little bit shocked that I was like the person I am, but I could still see myself becoming this person. I could still fucking see it. I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm not like a completely different fucking person. I'm just older, so I've been through some more experiences, you know, and I've hit puberty, so that affects yourself a lot. But yeah, like I'm not too much different from when I was a kid, and regardless, like I've spoken to people who are like, I'm so much different from when I was a kid, and they're not. Like, people really don't change a lot. So I don't really give a fuck about changing people or helping people and making the world a better place and all that bullshit. I just give a fuck about helping the people who think similar to me to get through things that most people can't deal with. Most people kill themselves. So yeah, last thing I guess I'll say is I am not an edgelord. I am not a Leafy or, you know, whatever the fuck, a JonTron or whoever. You know, I'm not even, you know, the more respected edgelords like iDubbbz and fucking Kyle Kulinski. You know, I'm not a fucking H3H fucking 3. I'm not any of that shit. I'm not a Destiny. Okay? I'm not an edgelord. I'm not some sort of sociopath. I'm not some sort of like asshole or somebody who's like, I feel nothing. You know, separating your emotions from what you talk about makes you smarter. Those are like the dumbest fucking people on the planet. Like, anyone who believes that separating yourself from your emotions is gonna make you smarter are fucking slow. And I'm going to talk about that more. Like, a lot of people think that I'm an edgelord, because I read comments sometimes and they talk about me like I'm an edgelord. Like, they're like, oh my god, I love your videos, you're so edgy. I was like, but people like me, and then people like that are very similar, but there are distinct differences. So, best way I can describe myself for now is that I'm an empath. I'm not the hippie shit that a lot of people think an empath is. I'm an actual empath, like a real empath, not that fucking like, oh, peace and I feel you. I can feel who you are. That's not what the fucking empath is. But empaths and sociopaths are very, very similar. But there's like distinct, defined differences between the two, and they're like polar opposites. So it's like they're kind of like two like planets or two meteors or comets or something, like going in two different directions but passing each other by. Like, that's how close and how different we are to each other. They're going in one direction, I'm going in another. So yeah, I'll touch on that stuff more, and this is just all I want to talk about for now. This is a random ass drawing that I'm drawing, leaving out the nipples because this is YouTube. I have a similar drawing of when I was very depressed a long time ago, where I did have the nipples, and that's on DeviantArt. But yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching me talk about whatever the fuck is on my mind right now. And yeah, I'm gonna do more videos about psychology and like my issues with people, and I'll probably be pointing out specific types of people. Like, I'll probably use example of YouTubers who are like the type of people that just make me want to like give up on the world. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for watching, and that's it. I'll see you guys next time.